Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. If you are back, if today's your first day, thank you for joining us for day 5. So this is the final day of a year in the life of a student, and we've been making our way through the academic year, and on the final day we thought it would be good to look at preparing for exams, revising, and well-being to do with when you're doing exams, because it is a stressful time. So we're going to be looking at a whole range of assistive technology, just like we have all week. And I'm sharing my screen today, but like other days, Gary and Izzy will be talking about technology while I'm sharing my screen. So yeah, we've got lots of things to look at, and lots of very different types of technology too. So I'll share my screen and get started. As usual, any questions, please ask them in the chat. And this is recorded, and all 5 of these webinars are going to be available on our YouTube channel, the Avantido YouTube channel, and we'll be in touch with you on Monday with a link to that, as well as a link to our DSA hub, because that's a useful place to watch little videos and get a bit of information about each bit of assistive technology that we've been talking about this week. And there is a survey. I've never mentioned it all other days. I don't think I've mentioned about the survey at the end of the webinar. If you'd like to give us some feedback, if you've got any questions, or you'd like to request some demo licenses for what you've seen, then that's the place to do that. Or just email us if you don't want to fill in the survey. So, right. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to share my screen. Share screen, and we do need sound today. Here we are, my desktop. So I've got nothing up. Well, it looks like I've got nothing open. I have. I do. I have many bits open. Today, all the technology, they're all web apps, apart from StudyKey, which is an app for your phone. Yeah, it's all in my browser. So we're going to look at I'll tell you what we're going to look at, and then we'll look at them, and then we'll review at the end, just like a lesson. Right, so we're going to look at Learnable for making revision fun. Sam says, oh, I don't like to call them games, but they are games, but that's a good thing, I think. You know, just reading through your notes, you're not going to learn. You need to be actively learning, and Learnable is an ideal way to do that. So we're going to take a look at Learnable. We're going to look at MindMeister and Meister tasks, looking at those and how that can help with revision. We're going to look at TextAid, and we're also going to look at StudyKey for a bit of support, moral support for exam time, and also iView, but rather than looking at the side of iView to do with how to get the most out of your assistive technology, there's a well-being section, and we thought this is a perfect webinar to talk about that side of iView. So that's what we're going to look at. So let's take a look. So you may remember, in fact I should test you, but I know it's Friday, you probably can't be bothered to think. On Wednesday I was going to ask you, what topic was I doing reading and research and writing an essay about? I'm sure you already know the answer anyway, but it was memory and smell, how like the connection between smelling things and how that triggers memories. And it's all to do with where the receptors in your brain are, and they're right near your memory bit of your brain. Apparently that's why you smells trigger memories, like the gym at school. That's a smell that from primary school gym. That has gone away a little bit, because I did teach in a primary school for 17 years, but I remember the smell when I'd left school and I went back in. I was like, oh, this just reminds me of being like 6 years old doing gymnastics or something. But yeah, anyway, that's off topic in a way. We've got Learnable here. Learnable is an ideal resource to help people revise and learn content. It is designed as a working document or a working project that you have in Learnable. You shouldn't just like cram, just like you should never cram for an exam anyway. You should be learning throughout your course. Just with Learnable, you should be uploading content and using it to reinforce your learning. But of course, coming up to exams, you certainly need to use it. And the reason why it's really effective, especially for people who are neurodivergent, is because it's a very active product. You're actively doing something in lots of different ways, different learning styles to learn it, rather than reading and trying to recall. That's a bit boring anyway for anyone, but if you're dyslexic, you're not going to want to read anyway. You're not going to be able to process it. If you've got ADHD, you're going to lose concentration very easily if you're always having to read stuff. So Learnable has a variety of methods, study methods. But the first thing you have to do is upload what you need to learn. So if I go into my exams on the left hand side, I've already uploaded the content because of us being short of time. I have been studying a whole array of exams here: science, Japanese, geology, Dundee history, nursing, Aventino solutions, biology, German, Macbeth, GCSE, and smell exam. What a range we have there. So smell is what we're looking at today. So I've uploaded some terms that I need to learn. So some scientific terms to do with smelling, and some content there, and I've also uploaded a picture of the nasal cavity. I think that's what that is. So I've added it in. I've also you need to put when your exam is, how long the exam is as well. There are different parts of Learnable, and because we're looking at lots of things today, I can't really go into lots of detail about every aspect of it. If you want to know more, Sam does webinars on Learnable every month. So if you go to the Aventino website, the events and webinars page, you'll find out when he's doing his next one, and they're always recorded as well. So if you can't make it the live one, he can send you a recording. So to learn about every bit of Learnable, yeah, do that. But I'm just going to show you a few bits, sort of the main things. You can set a study planner to prompt you of when to revise, and in little bits depending on when you study best and things like that. There's some well-being tips as well there. You can do mock exams as well. But I thought we'll look at the main part of Learnable, and that is the different study methods. So I'm going to go back because I've shown you what I uploaded. I'm going to click on home, and then I've got smell exam selected. So you select which exam you want to do a bit of work on, and then you choose what you'd like to focus on, like active recall, focus and attention, memory retention. I'm going to click all because then it allows me to look at all of the different styles. I'm going to show you just like 3 or 4 different methods, just to give you an idea of what's available there. We'll start off with flashcards. So flashcards, as you would expect, they are cards, but you can flip them over. So it's got a term that I need to learn and understand, and then if I flip it, it tells me the definition. So I can just read and then say maybe out loud what an olfactory receptor is, and then flip it over to check, and then you can just scroll through all the different terms that you need to learn. So they're flashcards. Okay. We can do mnemonics. That's connecting words, the first letter of each word to help you remember terms and definitions and things like that. It depends on what you're learning as to which study method is most effective. With the content we've got, there are quite a few. So I could I could use the read cover retail check. So that is exactly what it is. You read, I would say read out loud because I think that would help you process it. Then cover, and then either say it out loud or write or use, speech to text on your computer to write in the notepad what you remember, and then you can show it and check and do that a number of times to be learning that content. So that's another way you might want to learn. Yes, I will leave. It's asking me to leave because whether I want to leave is because it saves that whether you've done these different activities, you see. So I would have wanted to complete it. Concentration, that would be matching up the terms to the definitions. I'm sure you can imagine that, what that is. Record audio is literally that. You record yourself reading it. That is going to help you learn. We've got read a minute. It's called Ramban. Read a minute, bullet a minute. So you're reading for 1 minute and then writing some bullet points about what you've just read. Again, a different way of learning. Of course, if you are a dyslexic, you're not going to want to read it. That's not a problem. You can right click and use that text aid browser extension to read it for you if you want to. So that's another option there. Oh, again, it would have recorded that I'd done that, so I was just coming out of it too early. Got funnel method, so like lots of detail, then less detail, less detail, less detail to really focus down on key things. Cornell notes, it's like a brain dump really. Cornell notes, really, you've got your concepts and things, and you fill in the whole Cornell notes style. Fill in the blanks, that's useful. Especially my son's trying to learn Macbeth quotes at the moment. This is a useful way of learning that. So what you do is you have to type in what the missing word is. You can choose to be given the choice of words as well. I probably need that because I'm not very good at my knowledge of smell. The piriform cortex, something identify the smell. God, it's really tricky. Helps to identify the smell. And so then you read and you work your way through and you put the different answers in. I will just make it up just to save time, and then I'll see how amazingly well I did. Oh gosh, 2 out of 5. Never mind. I tried. I think if I had read it, I might have done better. Who knows? But of course, the more you do that, the better you're going to be. So so we've just looked at that, fill in the blanks, speech to text, that text to speech, that is literally having it read aloud to you, and create a meme. Apparently that's really a very popular method. So that is learnable, a very quick little overview of the different methods, but it certainly makes revising a little bit more fun and engaging than having to just write notes, do little post-it notes or highlight bits. That it doesn't really effectively help you learn. So learnable. Right, we shall move on. So other technology we have is mind mapping, and we've got MindMeister, and also MeisterTask. They're both really great tools, aren't they, Gary, for
yes,
revision. And we've got this, which is Gary's. It's just because I'm sharing my screen that I have it, because he shared it. So this is a revision mind map, Gary.
yes, and thanks for joining us all again. Yeah, this is day 5, so brilliant to have you on board, everyone. Revision is a subject that is not close to my heart. I'll be honest, I saw it as free time at school and probably ran that the whole way through to university, but things have changed. Back then, I was a bit of a gambler. Now I know that when events are coming up, I have to prepare for them or revise. And to be honest, I do use software to help me. And so many pieces of software, like the ones that we support, were built for the neurodivergent. However, they also help and support neurotypical. And revision is a subject rather than anything else, I think, because it's so important that, and why products like MindMeister and MeisterTask are so important is because they work so efficiently. They help everyone because everyone essentially needs to revise at some point in their life, whether it's from primary school right through to their job. It's essentially for every individual. And if you're like me, you're still looking for that golden ticket. You're trying to find a product or a solution that resonates with your style. And if you haven't found it yet, you're going to keep looking. And that's why there's so many products that cite revision as part of their makeup. And both Meister Suite products available through the DSA are web based. And again, this is very important when you're revising, because if you're like me and you do like to work right up to the last minute, whether it's a train journey or a bus journey, you're looking through those documents, you're trying to remember that one thing that you've forgotten, or the 100 things you've forgotten in my case, and try to cram them in last minute. I know Mary says don't cram, but I'm a crammer. So MindMeister, with regards to mind mapping, helps revision in so many ways. Obviously, it helps with the visualization to visually decipher work that you've previously done. For instance, here you can store documents and links that are important to that topic on each branch, so they can be relevant to the branch or just relevant to the subject. You can present from this document. So how that works is, in my case, I like to talk my subject through, even if I'm learning it for a written test. I like to present that task to myself and talk through that task. So it helps you with your flow. Very importantly, and I got this from my daughters who are both at university, collaboration counts. So asking tutors or other students, hey, I need a little bit of help, or I need notes, or what do you think about this answer to this question? Um, and that allows me to segue through into MeisterTask, which is the other product that I look after, and that is essentially task management. And that's super helpful for someone like me who doesn't manage tasks well, because I think that, well, I was better than average at coursework and schoolwork. So I always thought, hey, I've done that. I don't need to do any more work. However, I did. And I was terrible at that organizational stuff. So having tasks set up for yourself to work through, to collaborate on documents like tasks, for instance, with other colleagues, being able to track time or even see how long you've spent on a subject is fantastic. And of course, MeisterTask allows you to automate and integrate your diary. So that's especially useful if, like me, you use your diary as your Bible. So I know that an event is coming up. I'll look every day at the week and the following week, because even if I have alarms on, I still want to be prepared, because I know what I was like when I was 16. It was manana. So I can't work like that anymore. So both products are brilliant for visualization, brilliant for allowing you to even personalize the the swim lanes that you see here, or the Kanbans. And you don't have to necessarily stick with this. If you like a different view, there are calendar views and other views in MeisterTask. But in summary, both products are brilliant at helping you collate your notes, your documentation, all the content into a revision file. And it helps you break that work then into manageable tasks that you can diarize. It supports your personal learning process, which is key, because everyone is different at this stage. Difficult is right. I made a mistake there, but I'm difficult when it comes to revision. So I suppose for me, that's everything from Ireland this week. Thank you for listening. I'll pass you back to either Devon or Lancashire.
Thank you, Gary. Over and
You're
out.
welcome.
Yeah, and this is an example of a project that Gary created to help with revision, with different tasks to do with revision. My son also made one. I have the one for his mocks. He's doing his GCSEs now, but he's got his own. There's not shared with me, but this is what created when he was doing his mocks last November, and he liked using MeisterTask, and he's got tasks within tasks. So science, of course, is split into 3 subjects. So he split it up as subtasks and added like chemistry, all the different sections, so that he can like tick off when he completed the revision for the different ones. So he knew what he still needed to do and what he hadn't done, and he created tags good, so he didn't need to revise that or more revision needed. So there's quite a few bits within MeisterTask to really customize it and make it work for you as a revision aid there. And then we've looked at the mind map, so an obvious way, as Gary explained, to use it as a revision tool, like brain dumping what all you know and then filling in the gaps that you don't know by finding out and then learning. So so MeisterTask really useful there. Right, moving on to another. So we've done Learnable, MeisterTask. Next is TextAid. We're going to look at TextAid. TextAid does the reading for you. That's the main thing it does. But I think the highlighter tool is a really useful revision tool, just because it means that you're not only listening, which, well, great, yeah, listen to your notes to learn. Good, you can do that anywhere. It's a web app. You can plug earphones into your phone and listen to what you need to learn. But you're not going to effectively learn that way. You forget 90% of what you hear on average. So you need to do something while you're listening. So you can use the highlighter tool. So you click on the highlighter tool, and I'm just going to click on the arrow, which will allow me to listen. And while I'm listening, highlight the important bits. So he's going to read
themselves with the data, Instagram posts, S-body outcomes, S-fun outcomes, interviews, and pre-process the data for further analysis and discussion with the co-authors. 4.5.1 quintessence data.
Just going to stop him. So while Alfie was reading to me, I highlighted just 3 different bits. Of course, you could go through the entire 37-page document here, or you could scroll through to the pages you want and highlight the important bits. And then when you've done that, so you've already listened to it once, you've taken out the bits so you think, oh, I need to learn, remember that. I click to collect and download the highlighted bits, all the colours. You might want to have highlighted them in different colours for different topics that you've got to learn. So you might want to only download the yellow ones maybe, but I'll do it all. And then it's going to create a new tab, shows where it's all taken from, and now I've got just those important bits. And now I can click listen, or I could edit it first. I'm going to just remove that. I can now listen to just those important bits.
The S-scent task was carrying around plastic-scented bottles.
I think Alice is reading quite slowly. If you want to do it a little bit faster, I can... oh, yeah, she's on 80% rather than 100. You're not going to want it super fast if you're revising. It's meant to be going into your brain after all, isn't it? So, but I think 100%, which is like a standard speech speed.
The S-scent task was carrying around plastic-scented bottles, 1 per week, and resulted in sharing personal experiences via Instagram.
So there I am listening to just the important bits I can listen over and over again, not just on my computer now. Of course, I can just use that, have it on my phone, listen while I'm doing something else, and it hopefully will go in a bit more effectively, because you've done something at first with that content, haven't you? You're the one who chose those important bits, so that's the start of your learning journey, I think, of remembering. So that's text aid and how it can be used for revising. And next we're going to jump onto my phone screen. We're going to look at Study Key. Oh, I've just opened the wrong bit of assistive tech. I've opened up Wellbe. No, that is not what we want. And we want also the mirroring. So I share my screen. Let's share the screen. Okay. Well, we've looked at Study Key. I can't see it. It's just delayed. We've looked at Study Key a few times this week, and that's because it helps students throughout the year. I just can't see the screen. I'll stop and start again because it wasn't showing. And that's Study Key supports students throughout the year in being like a bit of moral support and really checking in on how things are going. And you hopefully can see on my phone a little icon at the top. You see that there, that blue dot? That is the Study Key icon, and it's because it's checking in on me. I've set it up to ask how I'm going with my exam preparation. So if I click on that, this is a daily check-in. So every day at 1:15, it's going to ask me how my exam preparation is going. So here it is, exam preparation. How am I feeling? Feel like giving up? Feeling okay? All is going well. I'm going to go, feel like giving up, submit. Oh dear. The email has been sent to the selected contacts. That's because I set it that if I put I feel like giving up, my one of my key contacts is going to be contacted. So the student can choose what happens for each response, but that's what I chose. So now an email will be sent to my contact. It's Anthony. I don't even know if I put his email address in. I must have done, because then he will receive an email saying Mary feels like giving up with her exam preparation. She's feeling really rubbish. That's going to be great, because then that person is going to reach out and make you feel a bit better. You might choose to put a little message. Do you remember when you did your last exam, you got 95%? You're going to be brilliant. Just some kind of motivational message would be lovely too. So that's how Study Key can really help with the tricky time of revision. So let's move on now. So Study Key, and finally we're jumping into iView Learning. And Izzy, I've not even allowed you to talk at all. Sorry about that. We've not really been having much of a chat today, have we? Maybe it's because it's Friday. But
yeah.
But I have my iView account open. And look at that, with Study Key as a favourite module.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can also have iView open on your mobile as well, can't you, Mary? So you could have it open on your phone if you're on the go. And I know today we're going to be talking really kind of about the well-being section of Ivy, but if you encounter an issue with using Study Key, for example, or you're stuck on how to get logged in, or how you can create adding a contact like Anthony as an example, then you're able to dive into Study Key as the module and be able to find how to do that.
Yeah. I will. I'm just going to move that. I was just trying to share. It's on my phone, but it's just not. It's frozen, like my mirroring thing.
Not cooperating.
So that's fine. We can move on to iView, and I'll just try and wake it up again while you're talking.
No worries. So if you click on the well-being section, kind of a good example to talk about is if you as an individual are feeling a little bit stressed. I think we can all relate to our revision days back in school where we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, we're not too sure where we should be starting. Then the wellbeing section is kind of a good area for you to come into. The mindfulness for study, if we hit that go button, is essentially going to take us to really kind of like a chapters of resources, walking through how you can prepare, execute functions, do things like mindful movement. So if you just click on chapter 1, Mary, and we can just listen to that as an example. We'll only listen, yeah, on the play button, sorry, yeah, the play icon. We'll just listen to it for a minute and then just hit play. Wonderful.
Chapter 1. Preparations. In this chapter, we'll look at taking control and using your brain mindfully. Ask the question, why mindfulness? And explore how mindfulness can help with study. John Kabat-Zinn said, "We can either be passively carried along by forces and habits that remain stubbornly unexamined and which imprison us in distorting dreams and potential nightmares, or we can engage in our lives by waking up to them and participate fully in their unfolding." Malden and Hutchinson suggest our behaviour and thinking is like a kaleidoscope. Remember those fun toys often given to us at Christmas? We played with them for a while, then put them down. The kaleidoscope pattern settled. Nobody moved it. Something might come along and nudge the kaleidoscope.
So that's, I've just paused it there because, well, I think we'll all be engrossed in this. And
I was getting really engrossed in there. I'm glad you paused it because I was fully engrossed in that.
Oh, what happens next?
Yeah. So that's just one of the examples. There are multiple chapters that you as a student can dive into just to get a few resources, help you feel a lot calmer. I personally, if you go back into the wellbeing section, Mary, I personally quite like, yeah, click there. I personally really like the sounds and the guided meditation as well. Again, they're really designed for you to be able to just feel a little bit calmer, either during your revision, perhaps you may be struggling or you're finding it a bit challenging, then it's just a great resource for you to be able to access. So you click on one of those and we can have a listen.
Like gentle rain, babbling.
Yeah, yeah.
Wildlife
at night is one of my favourites, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm relaxed already without hearing. Oh. Hey, do you want to see it on my phone? Look, here we are. This is what it's like on my phone. It's decided. So I've gone into Learnable. So this is what the iView app looks like, if you were wondering. So I'm like, this page is the Learnable page with all the different videos available. So it looks different to what we were looking at on the computer, but it's just because, it's an app for your phone because the layout is much more suitable for a small device in this way. So you can just go on whatever you want to go on. It's just my internet is slow. That's why it's got all these spinning wheels. You can go in different, and you can change the theme. Oh, that'd be fun. Make it blue. There we go. That will make it processing even slower here. That's what it looks like on your phone. And you can go and look how many different things there are. Look, so many different bits of technology.
Yeah.
Maybe you recognise some. Look at that text aid. There we are.
And also all your Microsoft, Google and Apple applications as well will sit on there too. So if you're using Microsoft Word for your revision or PowerPoint, Google Docs, and you run into an issue or a challenge, something you're encountering, a setting that you want to change, that's really where iView will come in with its Superman cape, really, to support you.
That's good. That is good. Well, I think we have gone through all the different areas. Like, if anybody's interested, look, we actually use MindMeister to prepare for this series. This is our mind map. Look, showing the 16th to the 20th of March, showing each day and what we're doing. So we We're not making it up. We do actually use it at work because it's such an effective way of working. So that was our mind map, and we have, yes, for this, we have looked here at Meistertask, My Meister Learnable, iView, Text Aid, and Study Key. Hooray! We've done them all. I will stop sharing now because we've gone through everything for today, and we can finish early for the weekend. Hopefully you've found this series really useful for looking at just the wide range of technology and how it can be applied. And you'll have seen most of the bits of technology have been not just on one day. So many of them have been on like either all of the days or at least two, looking at it, because it can be applied in so many different areas of a student's life. So so hopefully it's been really useful for you, and thank you so much for your time, for joining us on this tour, this journey through an academic year. And so we're all ready now to break up for the summer. For a well-earned break.
Absolutely.
The weather's right for it today, isn't it?
It is glorious, absolutely glorious.